It seems like you can't go a day without hearing about air pollution,
Yeah.
right?
It definitely, I think it's big.
Every day, there's a new study about how bad the air is. It kind of makes you wonder if we should be wearing hazmat suits just to walk around the block.
Well, there's a reason for all the attention. The World Health Organization actually found that a huge percentage of people around the world are breathing air that's harmful to their health.
Exactly. So, of course, everyone's looking for solutions.
Yeah.
And one of the most appealing ones is green spaces. Like more trees, more parks equals cleaner air, right?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? I mean, it makes sense on the surface.
Yeah.
Green spaces can make a difference, but it's not as simple as just planting a tree and calling it a day. There's a lot more to it, and that's what makes this deep dive so interesting.
You've sent over some research that goes way beyond the basics, looking at specific types of plants, even the layout of green spaces, and I have a feeling we're going to uncover some really unexpected findings.
Okay, so let's dive in. One of the things that jumped out at me was this idea of a species-specific air quality index, or SAQI. What is that exactly?
It's actually a pretty cool concept. Think of it like this. Not every plant cleans the air the same way, right? Some are just better at it than others.
Uh-huh.
The SAQI basically measures how effective different plant species are at removing certain pollutants.
So it's like a superpower ranking for air purifying plants.
Exactly. That's really neat. So what makes some plants better air purifiers than others? Is it just size or?
It's actually all about their biology. Leaf shape and texture play a big role. Even tiny hairs on the leaves can make a difference. For example, the London plane tree, which is a pretty common sight in cities.
Yeah.
It has these large, rough leaves that are really good at trapping dust. We're talking up to 70% more dust than a tree with smooth leaves.
Wow, 70%. That's a huge difference.
It is.
Okay, so it's definitely more nuanced than I thought. It's not just about planting more trees, it's about planting the right trees. But then it gets even more interesting because you also sent me some research on something called the patch shape index, or LSI. And this one, I have to admit, threw me for a loop. How does the shape of a green space affect how well it cleans the air?
It does seem counterintuitive, right?
It does.
But what's fascinating is that the shape of a park can actually influence the airflow within and around it. And that, in turn, affects its ability to disperse and remove pollutants. Think of it this way. A park with lots of curves and edges, kind of a weird shape, is actually better at capturing pollution than a perfectly round park.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
I would have thought a big open space would be more effective. So a sprawling park with nooks and crannies is better than a giant circular one? How does that even work?
It's all about those edges, actually. They create these micro-environments of air turbulence, which sounds complicated, but it's actually pretty cool. Think about it like mini whirlwinds. Those irregular shapes create more edges, and those edges create these little swirling effects. And that turbulence helps to lift pollutants up from the ground level and disperse them into the atmosphere where they're less likely to be a problem.
So it's like the park is creating its own little weather system. But instead of making rain clouds, it's making pollution-busting breezes.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
But okay, even if we manage to stir up all the pollution, how do we get rid of it? It doesn't just disappear, right?
Right, doesn't just vanish. That's where the soil comes in, specifically permeable soil.
Permeable soil. Okay, you mean like soil that's good at draining?
Yeah, good drainage is part of it, but it's actually much more than that. Permeable soil acts like a giant sponge, soaking up pollutants from the air or that get pulled down by plant roots. It's like a natural filtration system.
Wow, so we've got the shape of the green space creating these air currents, and then we've got the soil itself working to actually trap and filter out pollutants.
Exactly.
It's like a 1-2 punch for clean air.
That's a great way to put it. And it even goes beyond that. Remember those biogenic aerosols we talked about?
Vaguely, yeah. Those are the good guys, right?
The good guys, exactly.
Yeah.
Biogenic aerosols are these tiny particles that are released by plants and soil microbes.
Okay.
And they can actually have a big impact on air quality. They act like little magnets for water vapor, which helps to form clouds and rain, exactly. And guess what plays a key role in fostering those helpful microbes?
Permeable soil.
Permeable soil, you've got it.
So let me get this straight. We're saying that the right kind of soil not only helps to clean the air directly, but it can also actually lead to more rain.
Yeah.
Which then helps to clean the air even more.
Exactly.
It's like a positive feedback loop.
It is. It's a beautiful thing.
Incredible. We went from plant a tree to this whole intricate system of shapes and species and soil.
I know, it's pretty amazing.
It really makes you appreciate all the science that goes into designing these green spaces.
It really does. And the exciting part is it's not just theory. Cities around the world are putting these ideas into practice and getting amazing results, ready for some real-world inspiration.
Now you're talking. Hit me with your best shot. Hit me with your best shot.
Okay, how about Daegu, South Korea? They were dealing with really bad industrial pollution.
Yep.
And they decided to go all in on urban forestry. Like, they planted a ton of trees, all chosen for their air purifying abilities.
Wow. They planted their way out of industrial pollution.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Did it actually work?
It did. They saw a huge drop in pollutants, like over 100,000 tons less per year.
That's incredible.
Yeah. But it wasn't just the air quality that got better. The whole city was transformed. Cooler temperatures. It just looked nicer. People felt more connected to nature.
That's amazing. It really shows what a difference these ideas can make, even on a big scale. But what about places that are already super built up?
Wow.
Like a city with skyscrapers everywhere. Can you even have enough green space to matter?
That's where a place like Singapore comes in. They've gotten incredibly creative with urban greenery.
Okay.
Think like vertical gardens on the sides of buildings, green walls, rooftop gardens. They've basically turned their city into a vertical forest.
That's amazing. So they found a way to make it work even without a ton of space.
Yeah.
But did they actually see results?
Oh, yeah. They use less air conditioning now because the city is naturally cooler, and air quality has definitely improved.
That's so cool. Okay, you've convinced me. I'm ready to go full on green,
Right.
but I'm just one person. What can I really do with all this information? It feels like a huge problem.
I get it. It can feel overwhelming, but it starts with awareness, right? Knowing what we've talked about today means you can make more informed choices. Even small things can make a difference.
Okay, so it's not about single-handedly building a vertical forest on my balcony, though I kind of love that image.
Haha, no. It's about taking these ideas and sparking change, even in little ways. Maybe you plant that tree in your yard, or you start asking your local leaders about green roofs.
So it's about taking action, using this knowledge to advocate for change.
Exactly. And when enough people do that, it adds up. Those case studies are proof that it's not impossible. It's already happening.
This deep dive has really changed how I see green spaces. I used to just think of them as like a nice bonus, pretty, but not essential.
Yeah.
But it's so much bigger than that. It's connected to everything, our health, the environment, the future. And realizing that something as simple as a park can make a difference, that's powerful.
It really is. And that sense of connection of realizing that these solutions are all related, well, it brings us to our next deep dive.
Ooh, a cliffhanger. You know I love a good cliffhanger. What's coming up next?
We're going to be talking about water management and exploring how green spaces can actually help us deal with things like flooding and drought.
Wait, so the same parks that are cleaning our air could also help protect us from extreme weather.
Exactly.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the science of urban green spaces. It's been amazing.
My pleasure.
Be sure to tune in next time as we uncover even more surprising connections and explore how you can become a champion for a greener, healthier future.